you guys, and welcome back to another sales update video. And I titled this video Unbelievable Sales simply because I literally picked them up on a hunch. Nothing else. Almost no research went into these particular items when I found them at yard sales or thrift stores or garage sales or wherever it was that I actually found these pieces. But I figured that they were weird and wonderful enough that they may just have some profit lurking in there. And I was right. So I'm going to take you through each and every item and I'll let you know where I picked it up, how much I paid for it originally, and of course how much it's sold for. Real quick though, if you are new to this channel and you're interested in all things reselling and maybe running a small business for yourself, and you find the content in this video helpful, then have a think about hitting that subscribe button down below, and of course hit the like button if you enjoy your time here. I would love to have you come back and hang out some more. All right, item number one, I'm going to pop it right here. So, first item was a LaCoste sweater. Like I said, no research went into these items. I am familiar with LaCoste and I know that it is like a slightly higher end brand, as it were. I found it happened to be new with tags at a yard sale, paid about $5 for this. Now, I've only ever sold this brand before in terms of vintage pieces. I found a lot of like 1970s style LaCoste in my time. Don't know why, it just pops up a lot where I am, so go figure. But those pieces don't always sell super well. I usually end up selling them at about like $25 to $40 or so. Like I said, they paid $5 for this piece because it was brand new with the tags, and I had it listed for $80, and I thought that was kind of a reasonable price. But I didn't have any takers for multiple months, so when somebody sent me a best offer of $50 plus shipping, I went ahead and took it. All right, next item is this pair of Nike Zoom sneakers. So usually I do look up each like pair of Nikes when I find them, because I've been fooled before thinking they were really cool, or maybe they were vintage or whatever, and then when I get them home I realize they are not. Now when it comes to Nikes, on the inside of the tongue you are going to find a style number. That is super useful for being able to look them up really quickly and decide whether or not they're worth your time purchasing. And that process, of course, will also give you reliable comps to see how that particular pair or style is doing in the marketplace, how much it's selling for. And of course, if it has a specific name, like a style name or whatever, it's also most likely going to reveal that information to you as well. So if you have a chance at a yard sale, do go ahead and do a little search for the style number if you are sort of on the fence about whether or not to pick up the pair of shoes you found. I didn't bother looking these ones up though, I just thought they were cool. They weren't vintage, I could tell that by the date on the inside of the tongue as well, but they did have the retro vintage kind of look to them. They were high tops, they just had everything going for them, and they were only about $5 as well at the yard sale, so I took a chance and they sold for $70 plus shipping. Okay, next item definitely falls in my like weird and wonderful but could not leave him behind kind of a category, and it was R2-D2 from Star Wars. I actually ended up at one particular yard sale where he had a bunch of vintage Star Wars stuff, and they were all kind of from like the late 70s or so. All General Mills brand. I picked him up. I picked up a C-3PO and a Jawa, I think. The other two I have long since sold, and they went around the sort of $50 to $60 mark as well. And R2-D2 right here actually went for $60 as well. And it's worth noting that I did take my time when it came to researching this. When I first looked him up, the comps were kind of all over the place and I wasn't sure what the differentiator was. However, the more that I dug into those recently sold items, I could see that some of these came with like little inserts, like almost like little maps or something that were like slotted into the back of the figurine itself. So I was able to go back to mine, find his little secret door on the back that I literally had no idea was there, and lo and behold, he was complete with the two little maps inside as well, and that definitely upped his value and it helped me sell him quicker. So I paid $2 for this guy and he sold for $60 plus shipping. All right, next, Snoopy. This guy only cost me $1 at a yard sale, and I don't pick up all Snoopy, although to be fair, I have picked up a lot of vintage Snoopy in my time, and usually he does move, kind of like Garfield or Barney. They're just like eternally popular. This guy was a little bit different though. First of all, he was oversized. He was like yay big. And then he was actually a talking Snoopy where you could put a cassette in the back and he would like tell you stories and things like that. I guess kind of like a Teddy Ruxpin, but just a Snoopy version. I didn't happen to have any cassettes on hand, unfortunately, to test him, so I just sold him untested. But he still sold for $39.99 plus the shipping as well, and the buyer was happy, so I was happy. Okay, next is a mirror. I have recently gotten into picking up more things like mirrors, especially in this kind of aesthetic. Words I used were like celestial, astrology, astrological, those kinds of things. But there's definitely kind of like the 90s celestial vibe going on here, where you have the sort of 90s sun with the convex mirror. It was kind of smallish. I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. It totally made me think of my 90s bedroom. What can I say? I spent $2 on this at a yard sale and it sold for $40 plus shipping, and it was surprisingly easy to ship. Next is a board game. I don't pick up a lot of board games that aren't sealed, mostly because you really do have to go through and see what all is there, and it can take a lot of time and a lot of patience that I possibly don't have. But this one was only 50 cents, and I believe it was from the 80s. I think it was from the 80s. The Sweet Valley High board game. Nostalgia aplenty here. This one actually ended up being so close to complete. I think it maybe had like one small piece that was missing that I disclosed in the listing, but overall it was very close to complete. They're definitely taking good care of it. Like I said, 50 cents, like what a bargain at a yard sale. One tip I would give you in terms of selling things like this is you are going to want to make your thumbnail photo more than just the box. In order to make it stand out, I always do the box at the back, and then I lay out the board and the pieces and stuff like that. It just really gives a great overall impression when people are scrolling through something like this. They really get to see what all is inside, the fact that it comes with a lot of pieces, and it just draws the eye so much more than just the box by itself in the thumbnail. At least in my opinion, that's my tip. So 50 cents into this, and it sold on eBay for $39.99 plus shipping again. All right, next we're an absolute buy on a whim. So I sell a lot of vintage collegiate wear. If you've been on my channel for any length of time, you'll know that already. But that usually comes in the form of like sweaters, puffer jackets, sometimes t-shirts, that kind of thing. I have not yet sold vintage collegiate shoes. This was a new one for me. However, they were $2 whole and they were new in the box, like new old stock. Leather sneakers with the UT or Tennessee Vols stuff embroidered on the side. I just couldn't help myself because of them being dead stock. And they sold on Etsy actually for $69.95. Now they did take a good sort of like 6 months or so to actually sell. That's not super unusual for me when it comes to like more one-of-a-kind vintage items, especially something like shoes where you're waiting for the right buyer with the right shoe size, etc, etc. So you do have to pack your patience sometimes with some of these unique vintage items. But for me, $2 into $70 is worth the wait. All right, next is an item that I was super unsure about. In fact, I actually left the yard sale and then turned around and went right back and purchased this item after all. It cost me $5, which was a little more than I am used to spending on a vintage hat, I have to say, although it really isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. I am frugal to a fault. It is the thrifter in me. But $5 is what I paid for this, and I just thought it was cool. It was, I think, a 1995, if I remember correctly, World Series snapback hat. It had a couple of like small condition issues, like a little bit of discoloration, but overall in really, really nice shape. And I just, like I said, I took a chance on it, basically thinking either way, I'm going to get my $5 back, basically. But I was hoping it might be worth a bit more, and it was. It sold in under a month for $50 plus shipping. Next is one of my favorite, like, weird and wonderful finds from this year. It was a handmade cross-stitch framed sign that said, "The truth is out there." Like the XFiles slogan. I don't know. I just thought it was really cool, the fact that someone had taken the time to make that. So when I found it for $1 at a yard sale, I could not leave that behind. It had to come home with me. I actually didn't even put two and two together that this was like the X-Files tagline until somebody messaged me and said they loved X-Files and they thought it was really cool. So I ended up going back and putting the word X-Files in all of my titles, just changing some of those keywords up slightly. And I think that's probably what helped push it over the edge and helped sell it in the end, since it really is aimed towards a very specific sort of audience. So $1 at the yard sale, it sold for $49.95 on Etsy. All right, and the final item that I'm going to show you today, item number 10, is another eBay sale, and it's a Yamaha Drum Set. I picked this up at a yard sale for all of $5. It worked, I tested it, I cleaned it up, all that good stuff. I did not look it up at the yard sale. I just figured that it was worth more than $5, basically. I imagine that's not a universal rule for things like this, but I figured Yamaha was a good enough brand, and as long as it was in working condition, it probably did have some kind of value to it. I took a chance, and it ended up selling, like I said, on eBay for $49.99 plus the shipping again. All right, you guys, that's all the sales I have for you this time. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click the like button, and if you want to come back and see more sales updates, come along with me to yard sales and garage sales and actually thrift with me kind of like in real time, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the bell notification as well so you never miss a video. All right, you guys, I will catch you in the next one. Bye!